Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome into your MLB preview over here on Picks and Parlays. I'm Joe Madden, and today I'm joined by Terry Edelmann and Mike Fink to go over everything that you need to know out there in MLB. Now, before I forget, you guys, we can't forget about our Weekend Warrior package that is currently running over on picksandparlays.net. This is something you definitely want to jump into. Now, I know we're talking MLB now, but if you want to get your football picks this upcoming weekend from Terry Edelmann, Mike Fink, and everyone over at picksandparlays.net, head on over to the site and grab their Saturday and Sunday picks just for $49. And as an added bonus, you guys, you will get their Monday plays for free. But like I said, this is an MLB preview show, so let's jump straight into it. We've got the playoffs here, you guys. Wild card matchups kicking off tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Terry, you excited to be here?
Oh, for sure. I think tomorrow, game one of the wild card series is going to be the most important one of the three games because we've got a lot of really great pitchers tomorrow.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Mike, when we look at tomorrow's schedule, the first game kicking off at 1:09, so we got day baseball, the Detroit Tigers taking on the Cleveland Guardians, and then we'll move into that 4 o'clock hour Eastern where the San Diego Padres take on the Chicago Cubs. Looking at these two earlier matchups in the day, which game's really jumping off the board for you?
The funny part, the disclaimer about Cleveland and Detroit being the 1 o'clock game is they're like the Houston Texans of baseball, where if they could schedule them for 11 a.m., they would. They always get the 1 o'clock slot. It's just funny how it works that way. But what stands out with that game particularly is the Tigers have been a mess, and it's well documented. They've stumbled into the end of the season. They lost the division to Cleveland, and now the game is in Cleveland. But what stands out is Detroit can be fine if Tariq Skubal, who's pitching for them, puts together a great start. That's like what's on my mind. I'm like, the Tigers are a mess, but it might not matter if Skubal, again, who's presumably one of the Cy Young favorites, looks like that. That's the intrigue there. With the Padres Cubs, I'm still kind of waiting to see who starts for the Cubs here because I feel like I'm waiting for that starter to be named, but how they align for this series is going to be interesting because the Padres also have good pitching. So I think that's one of those series that you get a lot of low scoring games there, so to monitor for the totals, I'm like, that's what I'm monitoring. Like, what's the over unders on those games? But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to get started. It's great to just have one TV on in the background while get work done, even if you work that day, which some of us do. But either way, it's going to be fun. This is wild. This is the best time of year one of the best times of the year.
Yeah, it definitely is for baseball fans out there. Terry, Mike brought it up, Skubal, and his ability to come out and win the Detroit Tigers the game here. He has a strikeout of 7.5, and we know during the regular season sometimes that hurt people, or sometimes, he came out, got 9 or 10 strikeouts on the board. What are your thoughts on these two earlier games out there?
Yeah, I think Detroit's in trouble. I think even with Skubal on the mound, I think Detroit's in trouble. They just lost 5 of the last 6 games against Cleveland. 2 of those games Skubal started. Yes, he's an amazing pitcher. He's going to keep them in the game in game 1. But if Cleveland finds a way to win game 1, then I think they win game 2 as well. And it's a very quick series between those two. And then the Cubs and the Padres, that's a really tough series for me. I could see it going either way. I think that's going to be. I think that goes all 3 games. That's a really tough series. I think the Cubs having the home field advantage, I think, will help them in that series.
Yeah, it definitely should, that home field advantage. Now, the Cubs are the only ones yet to announce starting pitchers as we sit here for tomorrow's games. You guys, we will see Skubal versus Gavin Williams between the Tigers and the Guardians. The Padres have listed Nick Pivetta. We're seeing the Boston Red Sox versus the Yankees with Garrett Crochet versus Max Fried. And then the Cincinnati Reds versus the LA Dodgers. We're seeing Hunter Green versus Blake Snell. You guys, who's the best starting pitcher in tomorrow's matchups if they're on fire? Mike, is it Skubal?
I like it, but I like Skubal, but yeah, no, Cleveland's not a good matchup for. I mean, Terry mentioned it that the past few starts he's not looked good against Cleveland. I like Max Fried versus Garrett Crochet. I think that's the type of pitchers duel that old time baseball people really look forward to, where they can go 7 or 8 innings. Well, not 8, but definitely go deep into this game. I think Garrett Crochet is the one to watch here, who can really go deep and give Boston, well, one, an early upset victory, but also have a good outing and really cause problems. I think he's pitched well. I mean, Boston as a whole has played well against the Yankees this season. I think they're 9-4 on the season series, which pretty lopsided matchup for them. But I like Crochet against the Yankees. I know the Yankees have a great lineup, and that's where you wonder maybe that they can get to Crochet 1 or 2 times and that changes things, because that's the kind of situation you're looking at there. But that's the matchup I like, where if there's one pitcher who can really take advantage of kick off the ground running in this wild card series, I think it's him against the Yankees in game 1.
Okay, Terry, what about you? You're seeing all the games in front of you. This is tomorrow's slate. There are going to be some great games out there. I'm excited, like you said, to see Mike Crochet out there versus the Yankees. What about you, Terry? Where is your interest coming in tomorrow's slate?
Like from a pitching perspective, or just like a game to watch?
Pitching perspective first, and then game to watch.
Yeah, I think the main pitchers duels are going to be that Detroit and Cleveland, Skubal and Williams, and then Crochet and Fried as well. Just not knowing who the Cubs are putting out there, I think is unfortunate at this point. And then with the Reds have not had a strong offense, but I don't know what to expect from them offensively against Snell either.
Okay, so you guys, let's talk about tomorrow's games, and then I want to get into the American League, the National League odds, and the World Series odds. So if you guys are just catching this video at this point, that's what we're going to be looking at after we look at the lines for Tuesday. So let's jump into these games game by game. I want to know what you guys are liking, where you're betting, and of course, if you guys are looking for Terry and Mike's best bets, head on over to picksandparlays.net and grab their packages over there. There's lots of specials running as well, you guys. We have our NHL and our NBA early bird specials. You also want to look at the $500 off special for yearly packages. And then that weekend warrior, as I mentioned, if you're looking for those weekend picks, make sure you do jump on the football picks for Saturday and Sunday from either Terry and Mike or any of the handicappers over here at picksandparlays.net for just $49. You will get Monday's picks as well. But let's jump into this Tuesday slate. Let's hear what you're liking. Mike, I'll let you go first. We're looking at these 4 games. Let's start off with the Detroit Tigers versus the Cleveland Guardians. Currently, we are seeing the Detroit Tigers as the favorite in game 1 of the series, with Skubal getting the start. We're seeing a total of 6.5 in this pitching duel, minus 124 to the under. What do you like in this game and or the series as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to give you a few bets to just kind of keep in mind. I like in the Cleveland versus Detroit game and then the series, I like Detroit in game 1, but you're not getting good odds there. The plus 160 range, that's not a good, those aren't good odds there. So even if they win that game, I'm like kind of hesitant on that. I like, and this is crazy, as much as we've talked about Skubal and the pitching and the lineups being lousy, I like the over there. 6.5 is a low total in baseball. I mean, in general, most totals are around 8.5, 7.5 is a low total by baseball standards. 6.5 is really low. All you need is a big inning by one of these teams, and that covers. And I think as much as these lineups have struggled and aren't that good, you can get one of those innings, especially when it becomes a bullpen game. And I think we've seen this in the past in the wild cards, where one of these teams, they go to the bullpen in the 8th or 9th inning, and all of a sudden there's bases loaded and they pile on the runs. That could happen in that game. So 6.5, I like the over there. I don't know if you want me to throw out some other bets in other games that I like. Should I go for it?
Let's just stay with that game. We'll get Terry's thoughts now.
I just have all of them in the back of my head.
Like, right. I promise. You can tell us all your thoughts. Let's just get Terry's thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I'm much more of a sides better and a player props guy. Not really too much of a totals guy, and especially here, just in this wild card series myself, I'm probably not going to be really looking at any of the totals. My favorite play in this game is I like Cleveland to win the series at -104.
Okay.
So if you want to take them just to win the series, you could do that. But I think they win this game, even with Skubal on the mound. I think they win the game late. I think this is a good live betting opportunity in this game. I think if Detroit if the game's tied late, or Detroit has a 1-run lead, I think there is opportunity for Cleveland to come back in this game. So I would look at live betting Cleveland if they're down, and then I like them to win the series.
Yeah, great thoughts on that live betting situation. Okay, so Cleveland to win the series for you, Terry. Mike, in this first game, you're going to roll with the over 6.5. Did you give us a series prediction in this one?
I still like Cleveland, even if Detroit wins game one. It just overall in the long run, yeah, I like Cleveland to take this series. They've been the better team lately, and we all know that. The only possibility for Detroit to win this series is Skubal has a lights out game one, and then whoever they go with in either game 2 or 3, they have to just lean on that pitching. They have to lean on 2 great starts, and their lineup coming to life. I don't see that happening. So give me Cleveland in the series. Give them in 3. I would take them in 3. So if you can do a special prop or one of those series bets where you take them in 3, then I would take that. But that's where I'm looking at.
Absolutely. And something to note, you guys, if you do like Cleveland as well and you don't get on that bet by the time the game has started and you're just seeing this video live betting Cleveland, especially if the Tigers are able to pull up that game number 1, you're going to get better odds for them to come back and take the next 2. Let's jump into the second game here, you guys. The San Diego Padres are taking on the Chicago Cubs. Now, again, we don't know the starting pitching here for the Chicago Cubs. We know solid pitchers, though, out there for them. You guys, any thoughts on who you think we're going to see? If we're going to see any sort of movement here based on those starting pitchers? I'll let you go first, Terry. It's coming in at -116 right now for the Chicago Cubs, even though we don't know the announcement of the pitching. -102 for the Padres. This total sitting at that solid 7.5. Terry, take us away. What are we betting in this one?
Yeah, I don't know if the starting pitcher will really move the lines too much in this one here. The way I look at it is the Padres just weren't good on the road this year. 38-43 overall, while Chicago 50-31 at home. And both of these teams are coming into this game pretty hot. Both teams have been on a winning streak heading into this game. So I think this is going to be a very close game. I think it could be a coin flip overall. The Padres overall, the hotter team, but the home team was 4-2 in this series. So I think this one of the 4 games is the toughest one to predict. I think it's going to be close right to the end, and maybe even we could get some extra inning baseball here in this one.
Okay, Mike, how are you feeling about this one? Extra innings is always great to bet, by the way, you guys. I love it.
This is the one series I don't want to bet on. If I had to say, I'm walking away and say, I don't want to touch this series, this is the one, just because it does feel like a coin flip. I like taking a step back, I like the Padres pitching a little bit better. I like the rotation, and I think they're the team that can win the series because of that. So I'd maybe bet on them for that. But overall, there's not much where I'm like, oh yeah, confidently saying I would bet on this. Even the total, I think game 1 could be a pitcher's duel, even though the Cubs haven't named their pitcher. But again, 7's low. The Cubs have one of the best lineups in baseball. That's one they can hit one of these goes over. So I would just say, I would walk away. But in the big picture, I'd say Padres win the series. Padres, I would still take them to take game 1. I like Pivetta on the mound. I like a lot of things that they have going for them, and also the Cubs is their first time back in the postseason. You want to say experience matters for that, but overall, I'm still proceed with caution on this series. This is the one I'm least confident on.
Well, I love that you guys threw out the extra inning mark there, plus 640, Terry, if that extra inning does come to fruition. So
Yeah.
I think it was said it's got to be sprinkled, most definitely. You're going to go, Mike, with the Padres to take the series. Terry, you on the same board?
Yeah, I'm not betting it, but if I absolutely had to choose, I really do like this Padres team more, but I think if I had to choose, I think the Cubs get it done just because I think the home field advantage. But that Padres pitching staff and relievers are not going to be easy to score against. So I think it's going to be a very close series.
Yeah, definitely. A nice, close, tight series there. Extra innings worth sprinkling on. You guys, let's move on to the Boston Red Sox versus the New York Yankees. This matchup, we're seeing that total sitting at that solid 7 again. Garrett Crochet getting the start here for the Boston Red Sox, rolling in as a slight dog versus the New York Yankees and Max Fried. Minus 132 for the Yanks. They're getting that respect, and we understand why. They've got Aaron Judge on their team. Terry? Mike, I'll let you go first in this one. Mike, is Aaron Judge the difference maker? Is he going to show up in the playoffs this year?
I mean, that's always the big thing with one great player in the postseason is, oh yeah, they're going to show up. And the big thing is that teams pitch around them, or teams know how to exploit matchups, and usually good pitching wins in these situations. The player on the Yankees to watch is Stanton, because he actually has hit well against Boston historically. And in last season, he won the ALCS MVP. He's good in the postseason when it comes to stepping up in key situations. And the big thing is who's batting in between Stanton and Judge, because they don't usually go back-to-back right-hander. Sometimes they do, but is it Bellinger maybe, or is it maybe Ben Rice? They'll move him up there. It's interesting to see that, but overall, yeah, I wouldn't. Aaron Judge, like, there's all the pressure on him to deliver, but they're going to take him out of the game, or they're going to pitch. They're not going to give him anything easy. They might walk him a few times as well. I mean, we've seen whenever the Yankees play the Blue Jays, as soon as Judge gets in the batter's box, they're signaling to walk him because they don't want to even bother. So I think the big thing is who else steps up in that lineup, because someone has to. And the other side of things, who in the Boston lineup is going to really step up and deliver? I mean, their lineup's been good, but you're wondering who's really going to step up, take over the series with a few good at bats, and more importantly, take Max Fried out of the game early, or in game 2, they already know it's Carlos Rodon. So take him out of the game and pressure that bullpen, which has been spotty, which I think is the big thing for them.
Yeah, it definitely is. When we look at the Boston Red Sox, Terry, we're seeing Trevor Story being the top guy to get that home run. He's coming in at plus 440 to hit Max Fried. But when we look at the Yankees, it's a short plus money there for Aaron Judge. It's only a plus at 230. And Mike mentioned Stanton. Stanton's coming in at plus 320. Is there someone that you're looking at from either of these teams to be able to come up big here in this spot to get this series done? Or is this just a game where you're going to look at game 1 series as a whole?
For me, I think my favorite, and Mike mentioned it, I think my favorite play or prop, it's a player prop here in this game, is Aaron Judge to record a walk. Now, you can get that over at DraftKings at minus 117. So every other player is plus money. You're going to get plus 148, plus 200, plus 300. Aaron Judge, minus 117. Obviously, not plus money, but I think it's not plus money for a reason. I think it's a very good chance that he's going to get walked in this game. So minus 117, Aaron Judge to get a walk here in this game. Would probably be my best bet for this one.
Okay. What about series as a whole, guys? Where are we going series as a whole? Mike?
I'm going, and this hurts for me because I've been the one team I still root for in all of sports is the Yankees. Like, at this point, I'm not a fan of any team except for the Yankees. That's the one team I root for. And this is their worst matchup. Boston's 9-4 on the season series. And historically, the Yankees have not beaten Boston in the playoffs since, I believe, it was 2003. So, even though what happened in 2003 or 2004 has little to no impact on what happens now. But I don't like the Yankees in this series. I like Garrett Crochet in game 1. I think Boston's had their number this season. I think an interesting one would be if Alex Bregman's there or not, which I mean, I think he is having him as a good prop because I mean he stepped up in the postseason. I don't know if he's playing. I haven't checked yet, but having I have Boston taking the series. I think Yankees get 1, but overall winning the series in 3.
Okay, Boston to kick out the Yankees. Terry, what about you?
I'm not betting it. It's not going to be on my card, but I do think that the Yankees. I think the Yankees get this series, but there's just no value at -178 for the Yankees to win this series. So obviously, if you're looking at a value standpoint, Boston has the best value, and if Boston is able to get Game 1, Boston's able to win tomorrow, then yeah, I think they've got a good chance to win the series. But I think if Max Fried comes out, if the Yankees experience, especially like from last year and previous years, comes out and shows, I think they get the job done. But tomorrow is going to be a crucial game.
It definitely will. Yeah, it definitely will. And you guys getting into these series after Game 1 still could be profitable. If you like the Yankees and they do go down in Game 1, you're going to get so much better value moving them from that favorite to that dog roll. And same with Boston, grabbing Boston now. And then if they lose, coming back in on them, I do think is a strong way, getting that plus money. But you guys, we got one more game to look at. The Cincinnati Reds taking on the LA Dodgers, and then we will get to the American League, National League, and World Series odds. But looking at this last game here, the Cincinnati Reds with Hunter Green taking on the LA Dodgers and Blake Snell. This one has the highest total overall. This one coming in at a 7.5. It is juiced to the under at -124, though, and we are seeing the Reds coming in at +164. Terry, I'm going to go to you first. Do the Reds have a shot in Game 1 or in this series?
I'd like to say yes. And if you look at the LA Dodgers from the year as a whole, they had a lot of down spots where they just did not look like themselves. However, they've won 5 games heading into the postseason, and I know obviously towards the end, a lot of teams rest guys, and motivation isn't quite there as much as it would normally be, especially for teams that are out of it. But the Dodgers, they're just a much more experienced team. This Reds team, I think, are just going to be happy to be there. And you know, I like the Reds, and I would love to see the Reds upset the Dodgers. I think it would just be huge if they could upset the Dodgers. But I don't see it happening.
Mike, if the Dodgers and the Yankees both go out in round 1, is anyone going to be tuning in after that?
Someone joked, you know what type of World Series we really like to see is we like to see Texas Rangers versus Arizona Diamondbacks. That's what we really want, don't we? No, yeah, people are still going to pay attention. This whole idea that like the big markets have to win or the big markets have to be in it is not the case, especially with real baseball people. It's worth noting we still have big markets in the field. We have the Phillies are one, the Cubs are another. Boston's always a big market as well. And I mean, Toronto as well. We haven't seen them in the World Series per se to know what kind of audience they'll draw, but there's these markets that are always in, and you could actually, by the way, tell which ones Major League Baseball sees as the bigger markets versus the smaller ones based on what time slot they're given whenever the wild cards are going out. Case in point, Cleveland is getting the 1:00 game. But no, people are still going to watch. People are still going to follow it, and but that you bring up an interesting point with if the Yankees and Dodgers aren't in it, because this is a good. If you're not a fan of any of these teams, a good betting strategy is betting against those big markets. The Dodgers always get propped up odds, or the odds are slanted because a lot of fans are going to bet on the Dodgers. A lot of fans are going to bet on the Yankees. So if you want to fade them, it's always a good strategy. And I think that if you think the Reds are going to pull off the upset, for example, bet on the Reds because you're going to get better odds for them.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking at a Dodgers team that tomorrow is the biggest favorite across the board, just making your point there. And the Yankees are the second biggest favorite. Oh, no, the Tigers are actually the second biggest favorite, but the Dodgers were rolling in almost a $2 favorite over the Cincinnati Reds. And we know Hunter Green can come out nice and strong. So, Mike, overall in this series, can you have faith, though, in the Cincinnati Reds, or do you think the Dodgers are getting through?
Terry said that it would be exciting to see the Reds pull off the upset, and I would love to see the Reds host a home playoff game. It's been the last time they did that was 2012, which it's 2025 now, so it's been a while. I would love to see it. At the same time, the Reds are not a good team. As much as they snuck into the postseason as the wild card team, it's really more of the Mets collapsing. They were a 500 team, I think, since the All-Star break. Since August, they've only averaged 4 runs per game. So they're not even. They were carried by their lineup all season. They're not playing well. They're not hitting either. So as much as I'd like to get the good odds with the Reds, I think that this is a series that the Dodgers are going to win. The pitching is questionable from the Dodgers. So if there are two things I would say to look at are Dodgers to win, but keep betting the overs, because I think this is going to be a series where the two teams just outslug each other, even with the Reds lineup struggling. And the one bet I would put down for this game particularly is an alternate total. Maybe go 8.5, just because if you're going to bet, if you think it's going to be one of those slugfests, try to get better odds on it. And at plus 8.5 or even plus 9, you can get those odds and win on an over on a high scoring game.
Yeah, really interesting here, you guys. Something to note, the Dodgers team total is only 4.5. You're getting that at plus 122. Currently to the over if you want to play around with alt lines just for the Dodgers, because they're the team that you have faith in to get those runs. It's over 5.5 at plus 200, over 6.5 at plus 320. And then the Cincinnati Reds have a team total of 2.5. You're going to have to lay the juice to the over for them at minus 156. But if you do have faith in the Cincinnati Reds to be able to get those runs on the board, the over 3.5 is where you're going to start getting that plus money at plus 126. So it's going to be an interesting one. These wild card games, we know anything can happen out there. It would be crazy to think the Dodgers and the Yankees don't make it through, but you will get great plus money if they don't. Let's jump into what we're looking at for the American League, you guys. I want to know who you think has value, which team really stands out for you in the American League. We know the Seattle Mariners are coming in as the clear-cut favorite. You take it. They're right now plus 200, you guys, with the Toronto Blue Jays sitting just below them at plus 270. I was shocked. I thought the Yankees still would be sitting in the top two. The Yankees at plus 330, the Boston Red Sox at plus 800, Detroit Tigers at plus 900, Cleveland Guardians at plus 1,000. Terry, where are you going to go? What are you thinking out there?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a few teams. I think there's 3 teams that I see having a chance of moving on, and 3 teams that I don't.
Okay.
So we'll start with the favorites, Seattle. I think they are one of the 3 teams that I think could move on. They will face the winner of Cleveland and Detroit, and I think if Detroit is able to win that series against Cleveland, then I think Seattle wins and moves on to face whoever wins the other series. But if Cleveland is able to win, I think they could beat Seattle. And Cleveland, that's where the ton of value is, at plus 1,000. I think there's a ton of value with Cleveland at that price. Because they, if they can beat Detroit, if they can beat Detroit, they would face Seattle. I think they could win that. I don't know if they make it all the way to the World Series, but I think there's value with them. There's value with the coming into this playoffs. One of the hottest teams, 19-4 in their last 23. Seattle on the other side was 17-1. But then they lost their final 3 heading into the playoffs. So Cleveland, Seattle, 2 of the hottest teams heading into the playoffs. And then Toronto, I think they're the 3rd team. Just the home field advantage, I think, is going to be incredibly important for the Blue Jays and the rest, getting to fix their pitching staff how they want. So those are the 3 teams that I think have a chance.
Okay, Mike, where are your 3 teams or 2 teams that you think can take the American League?
Yeah, when I saw those odds and I saw the 3 American League East teams jumbled up together, it says a lot more about the perception is all 3 of them are going to beat each other up because they have to. The winner of the Yankees and Boston, whoever wins that series has to play Toronto. So by default, they're going to beat each other up, and by the time one of them gets out, they might be they might already be a little tired because they're playing those extra games or whatnot, and it doesn't favor them. So those odds are propped up because of that, or they're slanted towards Seattle. But I don't like Seattle. I know a lot of people are high on them, but their rotation has been spotty. Where they have a few people they can kind of lean on, but you wonder if that eventually wears down as they go deeper into the postseason. And their lineup, Cal Raleigh's been great. He's presumably the American League MVP favorite, him and Judge. But aside from that, their lineup's good, not great. I mean, they've got a lot of Josh Naylor's been a great addition. So I think seeing maybe if they can get depth there, or the back half of the lineup steps up, Julio Rodriguez, those type of players that really round out the lineup there. But it's one of those situations where if Cal Raleigh gets taken out of the game, which I think we saw with Aaron Judge and the Yankees, if he gets taken out of these games, what does that lineup look like? I don't like that. So I'm backing off on Seattle. The 2 teams I like odds wise, so they're not getting great odds, but I like Toronto because of the teams in the field, they check off a lot of the boxes where I'm going to sound like one of these older people saying like, oh, you have to field in baseball, but they're one of the better fielding teams in the American League. Certainly among these teams, the Yankees are not a good fielding team. I've watched too many of their games where they do not know how to field. So that's going to cost the Yankees a game at some point down the road. It did last year. So I like Toronto there. They're just one of the teams that they check off all the boxes. They can hit. They have the pitching. They have all the pieces to make it out of the American League. And the one value team is Boston, actually, where I like the rotation. And the big thing also is Chapman's their closer, and he's having a great season where if they need to go to him early, if they need to go to him for 6 outs, they can. And having that person in your bullpen goes a long way. So they're the team that I like for the odds, that watch them maybe. And the other thing also, just for Boston, they have the best manager probably among all these teams. Alex Cora is a very good manager and will make the right moves to get them over the top, I think.
Okay, let's jump into the National League, you guys. The National League, the Phillies, the clear-cut favorite by the books, coming in right around that plus 195. We then see the Milwaukee Brewers at plus 310 to take the National League, the LA Dodgers at plus 320, the Chicago Cubs at plus 650, the San Diego Padres at plus 750, and the Cincinnati Reds at plus 1700. Mike, I'll go back to you, get your opinions before we go to Terry. The Padres was a team that both of you are high on in the wild card here. Any chance they can take the National League? And if not, where are you going to go with the National League?
I feel so it's not popular to say that I'm going chalk here, where the 2 teams I like are the 2 favorites. Like, as much as I want to say of the other teams, like the Padres can potentially, especially if that we've seen in the past with them, where if their rotation's pitching well and they're getting the extra oomph from their lineup, where they can make a run. I mean, they've done in the past, or they almost upset the Dodgers last season. So they're the team to monitor there. And the Dodgers could just kind of outslug their way to the World Series. They kind of did it last year. So always interesting to watch to see maybe they could do that again. But the 2 teams I like are the Phillies and the Brewers. I know it's not popular, and I know they're not getting great odds, but they're the 2 teams that if I had to pick to make it out of the National League, I'm like, yeah, I'll go with them. Maybe one of them doesn't make it to the NLCS, but the other one I think holds up and wins the National League.
Okay, going chalky with those 2, but I don't blame you. They're the odds-on favorite for a reason. They have the pitching, the lineup. I like the depth on both sides for those teams. Terry, you going chalky, or you got a long shot for us?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's those 2. Philly and Milwaukee, I think they're the favorites. Now, Philly is quite a big, like they're plus 195 there. Milwaukee has some value at plus 310. And I'm really surprised that the Dodgers are at plus 320. I'm surprised that they're not a bit higher just because it's the Dodgers. Obviously, last year's champs as well. So I'm a bit surprised, but I think they're going to beat Cincinnati. And I think the Dodgers are going to face Philadelphia. And I think it's going to be a shock that they're when they face Philly. And I think Philly's going to get the job done. So I like Philly, and then the series Philly and Milwaukee. That's going to be a tough one. So I think value wise, I think it's to take both Philly and Milwaukee, and then you're guaranteed some profit if one of those two obviously wins it.
Okay, let's make some fan bases angry, you guys. We're going to look at World Series. I don't want to know who's winning. I want to know who's absolutely no way not getting there for the World Series. Come on. You guys want to do this, right? Make fan bases angry, or do you want to make them happy? You want to give us 2 bets for the World Series and 1 that there's no way, no hope that are getting there. You guys, let's pull up those World Series odds. Let me just grab them here for you. We do have the Phillies as the favorite. The Cincinnati Reds are the dead last to take the World Series. Terry, I'm going to go to you first. Let's give your 1 bet to take the World Series, then we'll get Mike's 1 bet to take the World Series. We'll go back and forth for the first 2, who you think can take the World Series. And then last but not least, we have to do who will not get there. So, Terry, you're up first. Who's getting there?
I don't want to choose the favorites, but one of my 2 teams would be the favorites, Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is destined to have a good season, a good playoff season here. And I think obviously the favorites, but I think they get the job done.
Okay, so your first pick is the Phillies at plus 450. Mike, what's your first pick?
To win the World Series, I mean, I kind of say my matchup, but yeah, I would go with I'm going Phillies. I think they again check off all the boxes. They have, even without Zach Wheeler, they still have the best. I mean, the rotation I trust the most. You have Christopher Sanchez also, who's been very good this season. One of the best pitchers in the National League, and their lineup just 1 through 9 is the best lineup in the field, and they got Duran to close out games. So I like the Phillies still to win the World Series. My matchup would be I don't know if I should say it or not, but just to give a hint, it's the 1993 rematch. If you're a baseball historian, you know what that looks like. Let's just say
drop below, you guys. Drop in the comments below if you know that matchup, right, Mike? We'll see who knows it.
1993, or yeah, I believe it's 93. It might be I think it's 93. It might be 92, but I think it's 93. But I think famous home run in that one. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, but that's where I'm picking. Do I need to throw a team under the bus now or no?
No, not yet. Philly's number 1. I want your number 2 choice, and then we're gonna get Terry's number 2 choice, and then I'll go back to Terry for the team under the bus, and then you for the team under the bus. So you got a second for that team under the bus. Who's your second pick to take the World Series before we get Terry's second?
Well, yeah, I'm going with Phillies Blue Jays, which the way that World Series ended back in the day was with an iconic home run. So I don't think that's gonna happen. I kind of lean the Phillies this time around, but that would be exciting to watch. Again, it's not the Yankees Dodgers 2 biggest markets, but still, you got Philly, Toronto. I think those are the 2 teams that I like. I like Philly to win it. This is a Philly team that, for what it's worth, like, this is the year to do it, where all your players are kind of in their prime, and all your players are, and Kyle Schwarber's heading to free agency after this, so like. He might. I mean, they want to re-sign him, but still, this is the year to win the World Series, and it just seems like this is. That's why they're the heavy favorites. Where it's like it seems like everything's falling into place for this to be the year for them. But yeah, I'm going with them over Toronto, and I think it would be fun to watch that.
Okay, so Terry, who are you liking for your second bet to take the World Series? And then what fan base are you making mad today? Who has no hope of taking the World Series? That's what I really want to know.
Well, I was hoping maybe we would have a different choice here, but Me and Mike completely agree. For me, I have to go with Toronto. Now, disclosure, I am a Blue Jays fan, but that being said, I think they get the job done just for having the home field throughout the American League. Once they face the Yankees or face Boston, just having that home field is going to help the fan base. The Jays are just one of, if not the best home field team in baseball this season. So I think the rest and the health will get them there. Philly versus Toronto is plus 1,000 at FanDuel. And instead of picking a team necessarily to win the World Series, I like that bet better. So Philly versus Toronto is plus 1,000.
Yeah, and if you guys are believers that Philly will beat Toronto, we're seeing that at plus 1,900. So great odds there. Okay, you guys, who we throwing under the bus, though? I want to know who's not making it there and why. Terry, you're up first. Then Mike, take it away.
Detroit. I think Detroit has zero chance. I know they got Tarek Skubal, but the Detroit Tigers had a double-digit lead in their division, and then completely choked it away. 3-13 in their last 16 games. They had big losing streaks, and then they did have a couple winning streaks, and then another huge losing streak. And for me, it's just. If Detroit is lucky they made the playoffs because obviously people are going to look at the Mets for being the team that choked the most this year, obviously missing the playoffs. But Detroit should be another team that's looked at because just an awful end to their season. So for me, yeah, you got Skubal, but you got zero chance in a World Series. Sorry, Detroit fans.
Oh, Mike, tell us who you've got.
Let's throw the state of Ohio under the bus while we're at it. I don't think Cleveland or Cincinnati are going to make it. We could have just thrown the whole AL Central and NL Central under the bus, but the Brewers are too good to do that. The last time, by the way, a team from the Central Division won the World Series was 2016. The Cubs beat Cleveland. It's actually the longest drought, but anyway, I digress. Let's throw both Ohio teams under the bus. The Reds, taking a step back, have not been a good team. And Cleveland also, as much as they've gotten hot at the end of the season, you take a step back and look at the team and you're like, this is not a good team. What is going to happen for them to go on a run? If you ask yourself that question, the answer is like, I don't know. They're like Jose Ramirez is again looking great in the postseason. I don't know where it's coming from. So there is a 0% chance we're getting an Ohio Cup World Series, and no way that happens. I can't wait for that to be clipped up somehow, kind of like a few years ago, Christopher Russo saying he's going to retire or something.
This is the segment that I so wanted to do. This is the segment I wanted to hear. I love when you guys irritate fan bases. I'll irritate one. Toronto, you guys really think my Toronto Blue Jays are getting all the way to the World Series? I would irritate you both at the same time. This team has let me down so many times. I think Vladdy's overrated. Come on, you guys. Tell me, convince me that my Jays are going to get there.
I think they're the best team in the field. In the American League. Just like if I would want to pick apart the Blue Jays to say, you look at what their team last season looked like. It was the opposite of what this one, which was like the sum of the parts are greater than the whole, which is like all these pieces put together are good. It's like the Blue Jays last season were like an animated movie with great actors and actresses doing the voices, where you're like, you have all these great. It's like Shark Tale. Like you find out the cast of characters who played that movie, and you're like, these are Hall of Fame cast of characters, and they're just doing voices, which is like, what a way to put that to waste. This team, though, they're just a well put together team, so I can't throw them under the bus. As a Yankees fan, I'll just say I watched them a few days ago, and I'm like, they look like a little league team fielding. They're really like, you put them in the field, I'm like, they're making mistakes that little league teams make. That's like coaches in youth baseball are like, all right, don't like look at your hit your cutoff man or throw the right base, and I'm like, there's the same mistakes that cost them last season are going to cost them this season. So if I'm going to throw my own team under the bus, sure, I'll throw the Yankees under the bus. No way they win the World Series either.
Well, Judge got hit by a ball by one of his players, right? Like just they were warming up or they were doing something. Remember, he had the cut over his eyebrow just like a month and a half ago, taking a ball from friendly fire, not even playing the game. So, yeah, they've been a mess as of late. Terry, sell me on my Blue Jays. How are my Blue Jays getting there? I know you're a Blue Jays fan as well. Haven't they let you down? They've broken your heart. I just don't know if I can get there with my wallet.
Well, the one negative thing I have to say is when is the last time the Blue Jays actually have won a playoff game? And that was, I believe, 2015. 2016, yeah. So it's been a while, and that's the main negative thing. But the positive thing is just how this team is played at home. And going back to what Mike said, teams make a lot of errors in Toronto. And teams get frustrated because it's not just the Yankees, but other teams come in and make and these errors happen and make these mistakes. And Toronto capitalizes. The depth throughout the lineup, Bo Bichette, if and when he comes back, if he can come back here after the series against, if Toronto is able to beat Boston or New York, and Bo Bichette comes back, then that's just a huge addition to the team. So obviously I've been hurt too. I've seen it, but if they can, once I see them win that first game, then I'll really have the confidence. And then two names, Trey Savage. The future is so bright for Toronto with him. And I think he's going to come out here and shove, whether it's as a starter or in a reliever role. I think Trey Savage is going to be a big reason why the Jays can go to the World Series. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win it, but I think the American League, how it's set up right now, I think this is Toronto's best chance. I think right now is in the American League with how other teams have played. So I think they get there, and then I think they lose. I think they lose once they get there.
And that would be the biggest letdown of all if Toronto's able to get there, but at least they would be able to get there. But you guys, thanks so much for joining us over here on picksandparlays.net on YouTube for our MLB preview for the World Series. It's going to be great. If you're looking for these guys' best bets, head on over to picksandparlays.net. Grab those premium packages. Terry Edelmann, Mike Fink, and you can also look at their Weekend Warrior packages. One last time, you guys, grab their football plays for this upcoming weekend, Saturday and Sunday for only $49. And as the bonus, no added extra cost, you'll get those Monday plays for free. Now, we do have the early bird specials running right now for NBA and NHL. These guys are big NHL guys. You don't want to miss out on any of their picks. But you guys, all the best in MLB in the playoffs. Let's go Toronto Blue Jays and the Phillies. Come on, let's go, you guys.